Since Halloween is right around the corner, I figured I would share the story of the horror film that's been the most impactful in my life. Back in high school, I took a film studies class. Very surprising, I know. Although I'd been a film fan my entire life, I was far from a cinephile. Frankly, at times I felt embarrassed by the amount of films I hadn't yet seen. So on the first day of class, when everyone was asked to introduce themselves and say their favorite film, you bet I was taking notes. Most of the answers given I had at least heard of, if not seen. However, there was one exception. From a dark corner in the back of a classroom, a classmate I hadn't seen before or after emerged and said, "Eraserhead," before vanishing into thin air. Upon a quick Google search, I was immediately greeted by a mesmerizing black and white poster of a frightened-looking man in a suit and hair similar to the Bride of Frankenstein, or Kramer from Seinfeld. It was starring Jack Nance and directed by David Lynch, who I had heard of through seeing Twin Peaks mentioned in videos and forum posts about Gravity Falls. Intrigued, I decided to look it up when I got home from school, and since I had nothing better to do, I decided to give it a watch. If you haven't seen Eraserhead, then I highly suggest you watch it, and I won't be discussing the ending or any major spoilers. However, if you're like me and you prefer to go into films blind and knowing as little as possible, you can feel free to skip the plot summary for now. The film follows Henry Spencer, a well-dressed man with a likely unwell hairstylist, navigating through a world that I can only describe as a monochrome industrial nightmare land. We see Henry superimposed in space over a planet. The film opens with the most bizarre sex scene ever, complete with a barnacle-covered man pulling levers and semen-shaped rubber falling into puddles. He's then invited by his girlfriend/former lover Mary to her parents' house for what turns out to be a rather awkward dinner, full of breastfeeding puppies, miniature bleeding chickens, and unwanted sexual advancements from Mary's mother. It's at this point where Henry is informed that he had not only impregnated Mary, but that she had already given birth and the baby was waiting at the hospital to be picked up. Well, there's still
not sure it is a baby.
It's premature, but there's a baby.
Mary and the baby move into Henry's apartment, except this isn't just some ordinary baby. It's terribly sick, won't stop crying, and it's so horribly deformed that instead of a baby, it more closely resembles E.T. or Bo Burnham's penis.
Because my dick looks like the baby from Eraserhead.
After a number of sleepless nights, Mary decides she's had enough and moves out. The rest of the film follows the building tension between Henry and the baby with its non-stop crying and cock blocking him. Not cool, dude. There's also a few seemingly non-sequitur sequences. One with a singing lady with chipmunk cheeks inside of the radiator. One where Henry's head is replaced by the baby's head, and then Henry's head falls down and is taken to a factory where you see his brains turned into eraser heads. If you're lost, that's okay. I think we all are. It all culminates in a terrifyingly gruesome yet strangely beautiful ending. And if you want to know what happens, you'll just have to watch the movie. Or watch someone else's plot summary. But come on, that's no way to engage with art, you know better. My initial reaction was more bewilderment than anything. I wasn't sure if I enjoyed it or not. I was so taken aback, my first thought was, wait, you can do that? An idea as simple as a film about anxieties around becoming a parent led to this? I'd wanted to be a filmmaker since I was little, seeing movies like The Wizard of Oz, Nightmare Before Christmas, and Raiders of the Lost Ark. But seeing Eraserhead opened up a whole new world of possibilities. Everything from the script to the production design, the makeup and the sound design, a lot of it didn't make logical sense, but it all made sense emotionally. Its aura was simultaneously disturbing and mesmerizing. I'd seen surrealist paintings and more comedic surrealist filmmaking from Tim and Eric, who I practically worshipped at the time, but Eraserhead was the first time I'd really witnessed a surrealist artwork that resonated with me on a deeper level. Not to say that Eraserhead doesn't have its comedic moments. At times, it's one of the most hilarious films I've ever seen. It was the first time I'd seen a film that feels like a dream. Having now explored more of art house cinema, there's certainly other great films with dreamlike atmospheres, but Eraserhead is still my favorite. Maybe some people wouldn't care about that, but I've been fascinated by dreams my entire life. Perhaps it's because of what it potentially can say about the psychology of the person who has the dream, or maybe it's because I've been blessed with having strange and surreal dreams myself for as long as I can remember. Luckily for me, David Lynch is known for directing films with a dreamlike quality to them, leading to him becoming one of my favorite directors. Lynch has directed a multitude of films: Blue Velvet, Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive, Dune, and though some are certainly more straightforward, conventional, and easy to understand than the style he's more well known for, they all contain varying degrees of a dreamlike quality.
We live inside a dream.
And various other idiosyncratic quirks that make David Lynch unique. David has inspired me not only as a filmmaker and an artist, but as a person, by teaching me to be unashamed and embrace my strange side. And although I may not agree with all of his beliefs, I'd be lying if I said hearing him talk about meditation and consciousness hasn't opened my mind to spirituality in a way that benefited my soul. And above all else, his films have taught me to navigate the world with curiosity, empathy, courage, and love. I know it's just moving pictures with sound, but the profound impact on my life cannot be overstated. Some of my closest friendships are built upon a mutual appreciation of Lynch, and if it weren't for that strange, backwards talking classmate of mine, I don't know if I'd even be here today. If my art could make even a minuscule fraction of the impact that Lynch's art has had on me, I could die happy. Have a happy Halloween. Go watch Eraserhead. Like, comment, subscribe, and take the cinephile pill.